I'd like to introduce Johnny Long. He's going to be talking about Google hacking. It's really funny. We were actually coming out, and we ended up on the same plane, and we stood in line, in the cattle line, for an hour talking about the subject. And it was a great way to, get a preview of what was going to happen. So I'd like to let Johnny have the rest of the time, and this will go till about 12:30. Johnny?
Hold on, technical difficulties. I did it, you're doing it. Despite what anybody says, those pictures weren't real.
This one works for me, too.
Great. All right, you guys got me? All right, good morning, everybody. So let's give a big round of applause for Black Hat. It's a privilege to be here, so let's round of applause. All right, a couple things before we get started. I've advertised a Google hacking contest, and it's going to be during this hour and a half. So I've learned lessons from previous speakers, and I'm not going to do it with any sort of electronic gadgetry. All right, I have absolutely no demos, and I plan on keeping it that way. So we're doing it with pads and paper, okay? So a buddy of mine, Nick, is going to be, where's Nick? Put your hand up, Nick. Somewhere around here. Does anybody see Nick? There he is. There's Nick. Nick's going to be sending these pads of paper down the rows with pens. Those of you that are interested in the contest, here's how it works. We're looking for unique Google queries that do not exist in our database, okay, that are interesting, okay, worthy of a prize, that sort of interesting. All right, what we're looking for is we want you to write down the query, just a brief sentence or a brief phrase about what this query digs up, and then your handle or email address or something like that. Okay, there's a little bit of a gentleman's agreement here because we're trusting you not to steal somebody else's query, and we're trusting you that the query actually finds results. Okay, if it doesn't, that camera right there is going to be picking you up when you come up here to pick your prize, all right? And the video footage will go on the website, and everybody that lost will probably beat you. No threat on my part, it's everybody else here. All right, is there anybody that's on the Google Master List that's in this audience? Anybody? Anybody that has an account on my website that's willing to help out with the contest? A lot of hands went down, that's great. All right. Well, if you happen to be interested in helping Nick out, when we get to the 10-minute mark, I'm going to have Nick bring in all the entries. He's going to sort through them. He's going to give me 3 or 4, and we're just going to go from there. So, anyway, that's it for the intro. I have 209 slides of Google goodness. So let's dig in. Thanks for coming for a second year of Google Talks at Black Hat. Who would have thought, right? All right. Basically, this is the book, okay, from Singer's Publishing, Google Hacking for Penetration Testers. Okay, the book is pretty good. It's gotten good reviews and has lots of pictures. Otherwise, I wouldn't be pimping it like this. Since this is Black Hat, we're going to go above and beyond. We're going to sort of step out of the bounds of the book. We're going to touch the book a little bit. We're going to go beyond it. But for those of you that are interested, we're going to have a book signing right after this. Right outside at the book selling booth, so feel free to come by and say hi, and we won't have time for questions, so do questions over there. All right, how many of you have used Google? Show of hands. That's encouraging. All of you, the others have to leave. Just gotta go. Gotta leave now. How many of you have used Google's advanced operators when searching? Good. All right. Just a really quick rundown on advanced operators. This is the same stuff from last year, so those of you that saw last year's talk, forgive me, I'm lazy. Advanced operators are just part of a Google query. You throw it in there with the rest of your query, and what it does is it narrows down your search. Okay, it takes lots of results and gives you less results. Okay, but it gives you more specific results. Advanced operators just look like this. It's an operator followed by a colon followed by a search term. Okay, there's no space before or after the colon. So let's see what that might look like. This table is ripped right from the book. This was one of the few times that I very much enjoyed copyright infringement. Just cut and pasted it right out of the book. This table shows you the advanced operators on the left by name, shows you a brief description of what the advanced operator does. And one of the things that I realized when I started playing around with these advanced operators is that some of them don't play nicely with others. Okay? Some of them require that you use them in pairs, and some of them don't work in certain places. You have to use them specifically in the web search or the image search or whatever. So this table sort of narrows that down. Here's how an advanced operator might work. The site operator, that searches this part of a URL. Okay, now, does anybody here work for Google? Didn't think so. That's like asking, in Mike Lynn's talk if anybody works for Cisco, but. Thanks for not raising your hand. You probably would have been beaten at some point by someone, but anyway, this is the site operator, and sometimes it searches the entire URI like I have it circled here. It'll actually look at that protocol, but sometimes it doesn't, and I don't know why. But generally what it does is it looks at the site. So in this case, iHackStuff, johnny.ihackstuff.com. In URL searches a little bit farther. It goes beyond the actual site and actually gets deeper into the URL, up to and including the actual file name at the end and the file extension. Whereas file type will only search the file extension. Okay, we'll get into this a little bit more. All right, let's see how these might work together. First of all, in title iHackStuff, pretty straightforward. It looks for the phrase iHackStuff in the title of the web page. Pretty straightforward. What I'm going to do is I'm going to throw a bunch of advanced operators at this page to sort of show you how we would describe this page with advanced operators. So we've got in title iHackStuff, file type PHP. This is a PHP page. We're building a Google query. Num range. Okay, this will look for numbers within a certain range. Those of you that saw all the incredible media hype from last year about the really nasty things you could dig up with Google probably figured out the num range operator. But that's as close as I will come to telling you how to find credit card information. Oh, which, by the way, thanks to Mike, I'm going to have to say, I work for CSC, and this talk in no way reflects the views of CSC, its clients, or its stockholders. Thank you. But yes, I do actually still work for them, and I'm not being sued by Google, so we're doing good. Like James Foster said this morning, none of you are going to remember any of this. You're just going to remember the Cisco thing in 2 months, so it's all just a waste. All right, in text is sort of stupid. In text actually forces a search to look in the text of the web page. Fortunately, there's lots of interesting things we can do with in text. But the bottom line is, if you combine all these things together into one Google query, one nasty, ugly, very lengthy Google query, you basically get one page back. We're narrowing down the results. We're getting very specific, okay? And we've basically gotten down to one web page. All right, that's Google searching. Again, same slide from last year. Sorry, lazy. When does it become Google hacking? What's this Google hacking thing about? All right, well, take a look at this URL and the Google search that finds it. In URL admin, in URL orders, file type PHP. Can anybody tell me what this URL might describe? What kind of site? E-commerce, online shopping, good.